What's up, everybody? Welcome to the main event every single Monday, 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. I'm Cody Askins.
And I am Jacob Van Helden.
We are Secure Agent Mentor. We're the Secure Agent Mentor team. We've got a new background in front of us. We're in the revamped Secure Agent Mentor studio, thanks to Ken with Downpour. We've got a lot more goodies that you guys haven't seen that will be up next week.
You better tune in next week.
That's right. But again, it's the main event every Monday to get you guys jacked for the week.
Yeah.
To get you guys excited, to keep you on course to where you want to go.
Gotta keep you high.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why we're here. We come to you every single Monday at 3 o'clock
That's right.
to bring you tips, tricks, anything that we can bring you to help you up your game.
That's right.
Help you up your income. Help you, control your financial future. And that's what we're here for today.
It is time to blow you up. And today we're going to be talking about blowing up your sales numbers.
Become huge.
Not just a little bit, but a lot.
Atomic bombs.
You know what? And we're gonna. There's a theme for today.
Yes.
There's a phrase that I'm gonna use about 6,000 times. Know your numbers.
You gotta know them.
If you do not know your numbers, it is impossible to hit your numbers.
Exactly. And that's the biggest thing. If you can break down your business into scalable numbers, into numbers that you can break down every single week, be consistent with, and know if I do this, if I do this, this will be the outcome.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing, and that's what we're going to talk about all day today.
It is exactly right, dude. How about my tie today?
Look at that. You're fresh.
I love this tie,
You're looking good.
man. I'm liking it.
Like
I'm
the
liking
peach
it.
shirt with the tie. I mean, it's on point.
Blue slacks, and brown belt, brown shoes. We got it working today.
That's what we're here for.
We are ready to blow up. When we look good,
you sell good.
We feel good. We sell good. Exactly. And so let's dive into blowing up your numbers, thinking big, knowing your math. When it comes to sales, there's a math behind it that you have to know.
You gotta know it.
You gotta understand your numbers.
You gotta know your numbers.
92%, and I continue to say it every single week or every couple weeks. 92% of insurance agents fail within their first 3 years. Most of the time, they are floating through life, and they do not know their numbers. It drives me insane.
It's and especially in the final expense world, guys. It is so simple to know your numbers. It really is.
Gosh.
It really is. And once you understand your numbers, hitting your goals is so much more realistic. It's so much more doable, and it's so much more attainable because you are breaking it down into a week by week plan.
Final expense is just so simple.
It is.
It is the easiest insurance in the world to learn how to sell. It's the easiest insurance in the world to train on, to actually make money on, and to get out there and do it, which is why we sell everything at Secure Agent Mentor, but we put a serious focus on final expense and making you money and sucking as much money as you can from that market.
Yes, sir.
Which is why we're going to talk about blowing up, which is why we're going to talk about breaking everything down. And so the way I always think through it is, if I want to make $100,000 in this business, which I can promise you is much easier than you think.
Oh, yeah.
I've done it for several years in a row. It is extremely easy if you know the math, you know the numbers, you skill up. We're going to give you some tips today. But one thing we're going to talk about, again, know your numbers, but consistency is key.
Yes.
To be able to scale up, to be able to make $100,000 every year, to be able to make $250,000 every year, you have to know your numbers. You got to break everything down into the smallest minute number. If Jacob wants to make $100,000, he's got to figure out what every call is worth.
Exactly.
What every lead is worth. How many leads he needs to get an appointment. How many appointments he needs to get a sale. How many sales he needs to get his goal. And so we're going to break all that down. We're going to show you how to do the math, how to think through it all for yourself.
And it's really simple, guys. I mean, you set yourself a goal of let's just be conservative here of $100,000, and you break everything down like you were saying. What's every call worth? What is every appointment worth? What is every person that you actually see, every step appointment worth? What is every sale to you worth? And once you break that down and you get a tangible idea of what these numbers actually are, then it's extremely easy to say, okay, if I want to make $100,000, this is how many calls I need to make every day.
Exactly.
And that's what you got to do.
Which is an awesome point, because eventually you will know what every phone call, if you know your numbers, you will know what every phone call is actually truly worth. If I know I make $25 every time I pick up the phone, I've literally got a cash machine or an ATM that I'm just cranking in the basement. You know what I mean? That's what they say with disability income. They say, hey, if you had an income machine, that you woke up, it produced this much income, would you insure that machine? Like they say, insure yourself. Well, it still works that way with knowing your numbers.
It's the exact same concept.
Yeah, because if you say, okay, I make $25 every time I pick up the phone. Well, you want to make, let's just say you want to make $1,000 in a week. How many times are you going to pick it up? You're going to pick that thing up 40 times.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up 40 times, and I'm going to make $1,000.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick it up 80 times, and I'm going to make $2,000. Whatever the math is, and it's different for every person.
It is. Your closing percentages, everything like that's going to really determine what every call is worth to you. But that's why you got to figure it out. That's why you got to know your numbers. Because if you're just sitting there picking up the phone and you have no idea what it's worth to you, you could be wasting your time for all you know.
I can promise you this: if I wouldn't have known my numbers and set a goal when the first year in the business, set a goal and figured out my numbers and put an emphasis on it and structured it and got organized and tracked the freak out of it, I would not have been able to make 6 figures at 19 years old.
No.
My first year in the business.
Never.
Because what would have happened is I would have thought small.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought big.
No.
I wouldn't have worried about all the little things, all the minute things, all the things that make you successful.
Right.
That would have made me like every other agent in that office that I started out with that had good weeks, had bad weeks, had good weeks, had bad weeks. And you know what? In this business, you're still going to have not so perfect weeks.
Right.
That's sales.
Yeah.
But we're talking about consistency is key. If you can figure out a way to have a system that produces so much income every single week, then it's repeatable. It's something that you can scale.
Yeah.
It's something that we talk about.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And that's the thing, guys. If you figure out what it is, what it takes to get to that goal, then you meet that first goal and then you scale it. So if, let's just say it takes you 25 leads every week. If you have to buy 25 leads every week to make $5,000 every week, and you want to start making $10,000 every week, simply double your lead.
Buy 50.
Buy 50 leads, and that'll get you $10,000.
Which, if you stick around, we will get into the actual math of how that works and actually break it all down, the true meat of what we're talking about. Something I did that I think everyone should do is I had a sales board. I called it a sales activity board or sales activity tracker.
Yeah.
And it was, and I always had a whiteboard that I turned into a calendar.
Yeah.
And I put on my wall, and it was on my wall from the moment I started selling, and we still track stuff today and what I do exactly. And so I always tracked and I would have in each day I would write like a cross.
Right.
Or like a plus sign, I guess, in each day, and I would track 4 different things every single day. And so I would track the number of calls I made. Mm-hmm. I would track the number of appointments I ran. Mm-hmm. I would track the number of sales I made and the number of commission that I earned.
Right.
I would track that daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. Because if I didn't track it, it's kind of funny. Whatever we put focus on, we tend to take more serious.
Yeah.
We just tend to have a better chance of doing what we want to do.
Right. And if it's
when
in front
we have
of you
a focus
day,
on it.
Yeah, and then when it's in front of you every single day, you see what you did yesterday, and it's a mental game. You see what you did yesterday, and you said, hey, yesterday was a decent day. I made this amount of calls. I set this many appointments. I made this many sales, and this was my commission. But I want to do more today. So if I made 10 calls yesterday and made $500, but I want to make $1,000 today, I'm going to make 20 calls today.
Exactly. And there was days where it would bother me if I ever had a goose egg or a zero by appointment, sales, or commission.
Yeah.
That bothered me. And if I ever didn't do any of it and had a big old goose egg, I ought to be fired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, if you're just
I ought to fire myself if I'm not doing any activity.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you're coming into the office with nothing in your pipeline and you sit down and don't do anything that entire day, you have literally wasted. You should have even gotten out of bed. If you're going to come into the office and do absolutely nothing and have nothing set up from the day before.
Which is hilarious. But you are so right. A large majority of agents.
But they do, though.
Do nothing. They do the smallest amount possible to actually make a little money.
Well, yeah, just to stay under the radar.
Or they make $5,000 in a week. Oh, I had a big sale, or I made several sales, and they take a month off.
They take
What is wrong with you to do that?
What are you doing?
I mean, at some point, you got to take it seriously. It's got to bother you.
Yeah, and that's where it comes in, because if you build up momentum like that and you come home from a day where you made $5,000 in a week, you had a solid week, you go home, you celebrate that weekend, you got to come back that next week with just as much intensity, if not more, to keep that consistency going.
What did you do that week to get to 5, and how do we duplicate it every single week so we don't make it like it's just,
hit and miss.
Exactly.
It's like closing your eyes and throwing a dart at the dartboard. You don't want that.
Yeah.
You want consistency. You want week in and week out. You find a system that works, that you can scale up, that you can stick to, and you continue to do it week in and week out. And then once you're comfortable with it, you scale it up. And you go bigger, and you go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And
so we talked about the sales board. Get a sales board, track those 4 things, track your numbers, set a goal for daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, and annually. Set a goal for all of them.
Yep.
But keep permanent track of your numbers. Take a picture of the board every month.
Yeah.
So that you can eventually learn, hey, when I make 50 calls in a day, I end up maybe running 3 appointments and making a sale or 2 and maybe $500. Well, if you duplicate that enough, that's a $10,000 a month. That's $120,000 a year because you knew your numbers and you knew what to do. And if that's the case, if by making 50 calls it was going to make you $500, that's $10 a call.
Yep.
You figure out what gets you to that point. Most people are too lazy.
Yeah.
That they don't, or they just don't think big enough. We did a show a couple weeks ago about think big.
Think huge.
And most people just do not think big enough. And it hinders their growth.
It does.
It hinders their potential.
Well,
it holds them back.
It does. And that's the sad part about it is a lot of these offices that you walk into, they set you what they would consider a realistic goal. And you basically get comfortable with that.
Screw realistic.
No. Seriously. We want unrealistic. We want...
If 92% of insurance agents fail, why would I do what anyone else says is realistic, right?
Exactly. Because if they think that's realistically, sure, you can sell that much every week, but you're not going to be able to live off that. You're not going to be able to thrive off of that. So get out of that box of, this is what they told me I need to do, and blow it up. Blow your numbers up.
Yep. Also, set a goal.
Yeah.
Figure out, everyone's got, and you know what, a lot of people pick out the number of $100,000.
Exactly.
Let's have a reason.
Right.
Let's have a why.
Why? That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah. If you don't have a why, then there's really no reason for you to do it. If you don't wake up in the morning and say, this is what I was meant to, this is what I want to do. I want to wake up in the morning, I want to sell final expenses or whatever it is, and I want to make money, I want to take care of my family, I want to take care of my friends. You're never going to succeed because there's nothing behind it. There's nothing driving you to succeed. It's just, you're just kind of going along with the motions.
Get that drive that you just wake up and you absolutely, can I say this, piss excellence?
Amen.
Where it drives you.
Amen.
It jacks you up. Amen. Ken's over there laughing at me, but I'm telling you, if there's not something inside of you that motivates you to get up and get going, then you need to reevaluate yourself, your why, your career, your life. I mean, there's got to be something that just gets you out of bed and gets you so focused that you don't ever have these goose eggs.
No.
And that you've actually got a goal that can keep you focused. Figure out what your goal is for a year, and then back it down. And then break that down. Say it's $100,000 for easy math's sake. That means you need to make $25,000 a quarter.
Yep.
Right? It means you need to make about $8,000 a month. You know, or about $2,000 a week.
A week, yeah.
50 weeks at $2,000 is $100,000. Okay,
yep.
So, and then you break it down times the day. You need to make about $400 a day.
Yep.
You need to make about 2/3 to 3/4 of a sale. So if you make a sale every single day in this business, or you make about $400.
Yep.
If you work weekends, maybe we can back it down to $300 or $350.
Exactly.
That's not a lot. That's not a lot of money. But because we don't have a goal, days and weeks
they
fly by together in this business.
Oh, yeah.
I'm telling you.
If
you don't think about it, it just goes.
Yeah. I mean, it's May.
Exactly.
It's May 15th, guys.
Yep.
I mean,
that's the problem. If you didn't set up, hey, I want to do this by May 15th, I can promise you the whole year you're like, wow, it's ridiculous how I've had so much going on. Life will get in the way. Life will happen.
Yep.
Everyone's got stuff that happens. But if they've got to focus and they start to think about it, then it don't even matter.
No.
Because they're starting to focus on it and they've got a goal.
You have a goal.
They've got something driving them.
Why.
Figure out what your goal is.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, the story of my first year and the thought process was for what I most wanted was I wanted to make Chairman's Council, which was the top incentive travel trip with Mutual of Omaha. And I knew if I did that, I'd be in the top 1% of all insurance agents in the nation. That was my goal. That was what I strive for. I saw that week-long trip and the fact that very few agents make it, and I set my targets on that. Now, the $100,000 came because of that, and I knew that if I made that, the $100,000 would come.
Exactly.
By doing that, I broke down the math. I figured it out.
Yeah.
And I was able to figure out that, okay, I needed to do this much per day, this much per week, this much per month, this much per quarter to hit that goal. And so I was able to hit it in 8 months. But if I wouldn't have had a plan, I guarantee you, I would have made a trip.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't have been that one.
No.
It is so easy to not get where we want. Because we're not even focused about it. We're not thinking about it. We're not writing it down every morning and every night.
Exactly. And I was just about to say that, and that's what you got to do is you have to keep your goals in front of you at all times because sure, like everyone does their New Year's resolution. That's a goal. Everybody does it. But very few people stick to their New Year's resolutions because they're not in front. They don't see it every day. They're not constantly driving. They don't track it. Wake up in the morning, write your goals down every single morning. Cody does this, I do this. When you wake up in the morning, write down your goal for the day. Write down your goal for the week.
Every time you say wake up in the morning, I think about wake up in the morning feeling like P. Diddy. That's what goes through my mind every time you say that. It's hilarious. I don't even know why, but it's just
good song. Good stuff, Kesha. But yeah, write your goals down. Yeah. Give yourself something tangible. You got to see it. You got to touch it. You got to feel it every single day. To keep that motivation up, to keep yourself constantly striving for that goal. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just...
You absolutely have to. And you know what? Numbers don't lie.
No.
If a week goes by and you had a bad week, there was a reason why.
Right.
But if you're tracking it, you can start to figure out why that was, and why that week went the way that it went.
Right.
Because numbers don't lie. If we know our numbers, if we know the math, it is so much easier to get where we want. Again, time flies by, weeks become months. And then you fail before you know it.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what happened? You know, that was a horrible couple of years in the insurance business. Well, that's because you didn't have anything to shoot for. You didn't strive for anything. You floated along in life, and you sucked.
You were just coasting.
And you lost.
Yeah.
And you failed.
Yeah.
And you were a miserable failure.
Yeah.
We do not want that for anybody.
No. Why would you come into this business to fail?
Agents fail, and it drives me nuts. That is what drives me to do what I do.
Yeah.
Anytime there's a statistic out there that says, hey, this is what happens to a large majority of the people, I can promise you, I am confident enough, and I will tell them to their face, that will not happen to me.
No.
I promise you.
No.
But if you're that confident and you're that serious and you take it to heart and you don't want to be just another number, just one of those people, it is so much easier to not become that because you've got to drive. You've got something to fuel you.
And once you see it, once you actually get past that, I'm just going to do that initial, I'm going to do it, and you actually start doing it and you see the results, it's almost like a drug. It is. You wake up, when you wake up, that's the first thing you need. You need that taste of success every single day. And,
I'm addicted.
And it's one of the most addictive drugs in the world. Success is one of the most addictive drugs in the world. And once you get a hold of it, you'll never let it go. I promise you.
There's no doubt about it. Okay, also, fill your pipeline.
Fill it.
Most agents, most salespeople aren't able to get where they want or hit their goals because their pipeline is too small or they're thinking too small. Right? I mean, so if you know that if you have 50 quality leads, you're going to make 10 sales and make 5K. Okay, well, you can probably do better.
Yeah.
But how do we get to the 50 leads? How do we get to the number of appointments we need? Keep your pipeline full, even if it means investing more money, putting forth more time, more activity, hiring an appointment setter, investing even more money, whatever it is.
Whatever you got to do.
Fill that pipeline. When it's full and you're busy, you're hitting on all cylinders. I can tell you this, if I go a couple weeks without an appointment or set a couple appointments for a couple weeks and they stand me up, when I do get to a sales appointment, I'm going to be rusty.
Oh, yeah.
But if I am hitting on all cylinders, I am running appointments every day, every week, every single week, I'm going to stay on top of my game.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to end up losing sales because I'm not taking as many at bats.
Exactly.
No matter how good of a salesman you are, if you don't run if you go on vacation for a month and you try to come back,
it's going to be tough.
It is extremely tough. You're not hitting on all cylinders.
Yeah.
Your sales skills have diminished whether you want to believe it or not.
Yeah.
It happens before you know it.
It does. And that's why you always have to keep it full. You don't ever want to come into a day without anything set up from the day before. You don't want to be that guy who's got the 5 appointments yesterday and then he's got to call and try to set appointments for today. But if he doesn't set any today, then he may have to set some for tomorrow.
Right.
You never, like Cody said, you never want to have a 0 day. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Always have activity. Always do everything you can to keep your pipeline as full as you can.
Right.
If you don't have money to invest in leads,
Jacob will give it to you.
I'll give it to you. Give me a call.
Write him a check,
Come
bro.
on. But make some cold calls. Do something.
Yeah.
I mean, open the phone book. Go old school. Open the phone book. Make some phone calls. Do something, but keep your pipeline full because when it comes, like Cody said, when it comes to that day where you get back from vacation, you were on vacation for a week, and you come back and there is nothing and you're starting fresh.
And my bills and expenses don't stop.
No, yeah.
Just
bills
because
don't
I go
stop.
on vacation or take a
bills don't
week
stop.
off,
Yeah.
or because I suck one week,
Yeah.
or I don't try, or I'm lazy, or I'm not determined.
Yeah.
I mean, and you know what? You bring up a good point because when I first started in the business, if I got to Monday and I didn't have any appointments, I was freaking out.
Yeah.
If you're watching this right now and you're like, hey, it's Monday, I have nothing set for the week. Oh my gosh, that would just drive me nuts.
Oh my God.
I always spent Saturday mornings, Sunday evenings, Fridays before I left, filling up my pipeline for that week. If I came in on Monday morning and I had no appointments, I had a much greater chance of having a crappy week and not making any sense.
Well, because you're starting your week off.
It just bothers me.
As a loss. You're already starting your week off as a loss. You have already started a step behind what everybody else has who had appointments set for Monday.
Right.
Because you have to come in and you've got to make those calls. You've got to spend that first half of your day even trying to set an appointment for that afternoon to get anything out of that day. So like Saturday afternoon, Sunday after church, people are really receptive after church because they're filled with the Holy Spirit. They're not going to cuss at you. But work. I mean, you got to do it, and you don't have to spend all day Saturday, all day Sunday.
It's kind of crazy. I have some agents that are like, "Hey, Saturday mornings are incredible.
Yeah.
Sunday evenings are incredible.
Yeah.
Wednesday nights are horrible. Tuesday nights are great." I mean, what's funny is every agent says something different.
Doesn't matter.
Just find what works with you and do something consistent.
Just be consistent.
Yeah.
Find what works for you. And be consistent and scale it.
It's so much easier when you know your numbers. Consistency is key.
Yeah.
Find something that you can duplicate. Let's get into the actual math and kind of what we're talking about. Every agent needs to know, how many leads do I need? How many calls did I need to make on those leads? How many appointments did I set? How many appointments did I run or that actually stuck?
Yeah.
How many sales did I make from those appointments that stuck? What was my total commission?
Yep.
What was and then you can start to learn what was my average cost for me to get an appointment.
Right.
What was my average cost per sale?
Right.
What was my average commission per dial?
Exactly.
When you start to know your numbers and you track all these things and you take it from investing money or activity into actual money and sales, it's so much easier to scale up.
Oh, yeah.
It is so much easier. I know several agents that they buy so many leads, they have an appointment setter that sets so many appointments, and they make so many sales and make so much commission within a range every single week like clockwork because they have a system. And that's one word I haven't mentioned a lot today, but that's a word that I used to preach.
Oh, yeah.
My first several years in the business.
Yeah.
I had a system.
You have to.
That I did. And the agents that didn't have a system floated through life, sucked, didn't make any sales, finished behind me every single week, and they wondered how they got beat. They didn't have a system. They didn't have something that was repeatable. They didn't have something that was scalable.
Yeah.
They just didn't think about it. And so you've got to figure out the math. How many leads do I need? How many calls do I have to make? How many appointments did I set? How many appointments did I run or that stuck?
Mm-hmm.
How many sales did I make?
Right.
And how much total commission did I get? And then you can start to break all that down.
And that's when that's what makes the numbers, because $100,000 for some is a big number for some people. It's a hard number to sit there and think.
Unfortunately, it's still
the stigma of.
I'll tell you this: $1 million is the new 6 figures.
Oh, easy.
I'll just tell you that.
And that's a fact, and it is. I mean, it really is. But let's just use 100,000 as an easy number. That seems like a pretty large number. But then if you divide it out and you break it down, let's just say 50 weeks. And you break it down, that's $2,000 a week.
Yeah.
Can you not do that? I mean, and then you break down your sales. Let's say your average commission from a sale is $500.
Yeah.
So you're telling me you can't make 4 sales every week?
Well, and you say know your numbers. We say know your math. And you know what? I can give you the math and the numbers how to make $100,000 in a quarter.
Yeah.
Because I know these things.
Yeah.
I know how they scale up. And it's all about knowing your numbers. I could give someone a numbers to make $100,000 in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they may not have the money to invest, but I can give you the math behind it.
Exactly.
But then
you know that's the biggest thing is knowing. Knowing is the key. If you know what it takes to make $100,000 in 1 month, then you'll have a goal of, hey, I want to make $100,000 in a month, but this is the upfront capital that I need to have to make that $100,000. Right. So my goal is to have this amount of capital, and then to go over and transfer that over into $100,000 a month. And the only reason you'll be able to do that is if you know your numbers.
That's why Jacob has so much money. He robbed a bank.
That's right.
But he knew his numbers, and he knew
I know
what
how
he
many
needed.
banks to rob. I know which banks are the best. I'm just kidding, guys.
All right, 3 tips to scale. 3 tips to scale your business, to blow up your numbers is you've got to have some. You've got to figure out the math.
Yeah.
Figure out what kind of actions it would normally take, and then do a lot more action than it really takes. And then as you go, improve your sales skills. So know your math.
Yep.
Compound, some simple math.
Right.
Compound it together. And then increase levels of action.
Yeah.
Figure out how much action it takes. Okay, if it takes this much, if it takes 50 calls a day, make 150. Make 500, whatever. And then your sales skills will improve, which will make the math easier.
It does. The more you practice, the more you do it, the more you actually achieve these things, the easier it becomes, guys. I mean, I've only been in the insurance business for a little over a year now, and in that year alone, I have gone from knowing almost nothing about insurance to skilling up every single night. Anytime I'm in the car, I'm listening to sales rate. I'm listening to anything on YouTube, sales related, insurance related. Listening to this guy right here. And
just a great point. You find people. You know what? Maybe you hate my guts. Phenomenal. Find someone that you can listen to.
Exactly.
I mean, no matter who it is.
There's tons of people out there, guys.
There are tons of people.
YouTube is the greatest sales tool on the planet.
It is awesome. It gives you phenomenal tools.
It is great information.
Yeah. I love people like Grant Cardone.
Yes, Grant Cardone, your Gary V's. I mean, all those guys are huge and influential people that you can watch for free, and they can give you all sorts of information. So skill up, because you will never be better than anybody else if you do not practice.
Exactly. And some people need, and figure out what you need. Some people need motivation.
Yeah.
I know plenty of agents that need motivation.
Yes.
Someone to pump them up. I don't need that.
No.
I just don't.
No.
I really don't. I get up and I jump out of bed. I tackle my wife and I'm just jacked up. But some people don't know. They're like, okay, maybe I need. Some people need motivation. But if they don't need motivation, some people need just sales skills, just sales, just learning, guidance. Which is more kind of mine now. Is I've got the motivation.
Right.
I've got the sales skills. I can always improve, but I promise you I got them.
Yeah.
But I'm always looking at ways now to market myself and
Yes.
blow up my business.
Exactly.
Because I don't need the motivation. I don't need the focus.
No.
I don't need the goal setting. I know where I want to go.
Yeah.
I just need to learn how to tell more people about what I have to offer.
Exactly.
And how incredible it is.
Yeah. And it really is. And that's the biggest thing is, you can do all the action in the world. You can compound results. You can figure the math out. But if you don't have the skill, if the skill's not there...
Which is a good point. I feel sorry for a lot of agents because they're like, I want to do this, and this. Well, there's no skill to back it up.
Yeah.
You could invest
every penny, millions and millions of that. You could go into debt. You could declare bankruptcy trying to buy leads, get a marketing system, do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But if the skill's not there, then it's never gonna come up. So you have to skill up. You have to be the absolute best at whatever you do, whether it's final expense, whether it's
you
Medicare.
have to at least believe that you are.
Yes, or at least exactly. At least believe you are. You may not be the best, but if you think you're the best, it's going to come off to your clients as they are dealing with the best insurance agent on the planet.
There's no doubt about it. Let's get into some math of kind of some examples of buying so many leads per week, and we're going to talk about a little bit about direct mail, a little bit about telemarketing, and a little bit about Facebook. And so direct mail, I know agents that buy 20 to 25 direct mail leads every single week in different areas.
Yeah.
And so let's just say you bought 25 direct mail leads a week. You should get, with an appointment setter, you should get on average if you have a backlog of leads as well, you should get on average about 15 appointments or more. If you say 15, 16, 18 appointments, I know guys that buy 25 every week, and they have 19 appointments.
Right.
With an appointment setter, they're going to drop off the benefits, those types of things. And from those, they will make, I know guys that buy 25 direct mail leads a week that make, that have 19 appointments, 16 of them stick, and they'll sell 10 apps.
Yeah.
From those. Some homes will be double homes.
Right.
A lot of homes will be single.
Yeah.
And then from those 10, they'll average $600 to $800 of annual premium.
Right.
They'll do 6 to 8K every single week like clockwork because they have a system that they can roll out. Yeah, they may have to spend $600, $750, $1,000 a week. But if you're doing 6 to 8K a week, who cares?
If I were to come up to you and say, "Hey, listen, if you give me $1,000, I will write you a check for $7,000." Would you not do that?
Would you do that
every day of the week? Twice on Sunday, brother. I would do it every day of the week.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so also telemarketing leads. I know a lot of agents that buy 20 to 30 telemarketing leads. Let's just use 20 as an example. 20 doesn't cost a lot. 20 is a couple $100.
Yeah.
You're looking at 6 to 8 appointments on average every single week. Some agents can do more. Some agents can do less. I'm trying to use general terms.
Right.
I can do a lot better. Say you you only make 3 sales and you're not that great, or people stand you up or whatever. 3 sales at $720 of average annual premium. Some agents do better. Some agents do worse. I'll just use it as an average. That's $2,160 of annual premium every single week.
Yeah.
And it costs you a couple $100.
Right.
$200 to $250 to $300.
So yeah, and even if you were, let's just say it was $200 and you made $1,900 that week. I mean, you're still looking at probably anywhere from $96,000 to $98,000 that year, off of very very few sales every week.
You're gonna spend 10, 12, 15 grand to make 100.
To make 100.
Why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, would you not? Yeah, that's just.
But again, the key is consistency. Most people are not being consistent enough, and they're not turning this system every week.
No, and that's the thing. And like we said earlier, you had that really good week. And then you're that guy who's, I had that $5,000 week, I'm going to take a couple weeks off.
Yeah.
Why? Keep it going. You just had the best week of your entire life. You did the best you've ever done. Why would you stop? Why would you not carry that on to the next week and keep skilling up and keep scaling up?
Exactly. Also, you could do our Facebook direct mail leads.
Yeah.
I talked to an agent that I'm interviewing. I'm supposed to interview him tonight. He buys 25 direct mail leads every single week. He likes our Facebook leads better than his own direct mail leads. And he thought that direct mail was the king of all leads.
Yeah, and that's the stigma in final expense, is that if you want to make money in final expense and you want the best quality leads, you buy direct mail. We had a guy who is producing almost $500,000 a year in final expense business tell us that our Facebook leads, the Facebook leads that we generate here at Secure Agent Mentor, are better than his direct mail leads.
Yep. And they're less expensive. And we fill them within 48 hours compared to 4 or 5 weeks with direct mail. It's just, it truly is incredible because that made me feel good, I mean, but say because they're a little better quality than telemarketing. Say you get 6 to 10 appointments, maybe you can do better, maybe you can do worse, whatever.
Sure.
But say you have 8 to 10 appointments, you do 4 sales.
Yeah.
Well, 4 sales at $720 a week of annual premium, that's almost $3,000, and it costs you $300 or $400.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you buy or what you can invest in or how much money you have. Some agents buy direct mail and Facebook.
Yeah.
Some agents buy Facebook and telemarketing. Some agents just buy a lot of Facebook. I've got an agent that buys 50 Facebook every single week down in Florida. It doesn't matter. Figure out what you want to do, what works for you, what makes you happy.
Exactly.
What gets you to where you want to go. Whatever your end game is, your goal is.
Set your goal. And then start working towards it. Set your goal, figure out the math, and then once you figure out the math, guys, I promise you, this is going to become so much easier. It is going to become so much more doable. Rather than, I got to make $10,000 in a month, to, I only have to make $2,500 a week.
Right.
That's
and
doable.
To jump into fan mail, I had an agent say, hey, you say find what works for you, and you know what? And he said, how do I know what actually works for me? Well, you know what? That's an awesome question.
That's an awesome question.
That is an awesome question. And I'm trying to think of his name. I was thinking it was like Andrew from Florida, but I'm not positive. But, it's kind of cool because it was an awesome question.
Yeah.
But if you don't know you won't know your numbers. But figure out what it is. You know what I mean? And the way you learn is by experimenting.
Just do it.
Try some different stuff. Invest a little bit of money. Figure out what you like, what works best for you, and then just replicate it.
And
do it.
And once you find what works, because guys, we tried all sorts of things before we figured out that Facebook was an awesome lead generation source. We spent money. I mean, we did a lot of research, and then we found what worked for us. And we're scaling it, and we're scaling it, and scaling it, and scaling it, and that's how you do. So you have to, there's going to be a little bit of an investment. You may lose a little bit of money on the front end, but once you find out what works for you, and you figure out a good system, and you're consistent with it, and you can stick with it, and you can scale it up, and you stick with it, guys, you'll blow yourself away. Yeah. You really will.
That's what's impressive. I mean, we've had marketing teams that have focused on, advertising online,
or TV,
and we've spent
radio.
so much money, and you know what? But we've figured it out. So at this point, rather than spending tens of thousands of dollars and weeks and months and years of time, we figured it out for you.
Yeah,
and our agents get discounts, and they love them. I mean, they are solid discounts.
They really are. They really are. Yeah, no, and even if you're not an agent, the prices that we have here, even for our Facebook leads, which are as good, I would venture to say, if not better than your direct mail leads, are still going to be probably 20 to 30% less, even not being an agent, than what you would spend on your direct mail leads every week. And it's just, it's because we don't have to spend all the money sending out mailers and doing things like that. It's a simple Facebook ad. They respond to it, and it comes through as a lead for you guys.
When we talk about blowing up your numbers, kind of some takeaways from today, I would say, set a goal. Track everything. Figure out what works, and then look at scaling up your business. Just think about blowing up. Think big. Quit thinking so small.
Exactly.
I just get so excited when we talk about thinking big, and I want you guys to think big. I want it to be something that you just do all the time,
every day.
Any final words, bro?
Guys, I would just say know your numbers. Like we said 1,000 times, we warned you. We would say it 1,000,000 times.
That's right.
Know your numbers. If you do not know your numbers, you are just floating out there. There is no goal. There is no end game. You are just waking up in the morning, going to work, getting done, coming home, and going to sleep. There is no purpose. There is no sustenance. Know your numbers. Have a goal. Figure the math out, and then crush it, and then scale it, and then scale it. Think so big it scares you.
Do it. Exactly. All right. Thanks so much for watching the main event every Monday at 3 o'clock Central Standard Time. We are Secure Agent Mentor. I'm Cody Askins.
And I'm Jacob Van Helden.
Thank you so much for joining and watching. Blow up your business.
Blow it up.
Have an incredible week.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you next Monday at 3 o'clock.